Hi, and welcome to That's So Nova. And I'm echoing, hold on there. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. Today we're going to be doing another Oro Rosa pattern, and we all know that I love me some Oro Rosa. We're going to be doing the Tiny Quilted Beast. This bag is so adorable. It's not very big. It's 9 inches wide by 6 inches high and 4 inches deep. It has 2 separate zipper compartments. There's no pockets or no slip pockets, so you could add, but it's this bag is really small, but it can hold a lot of stuff like your phone, candy, wallet, and what have you. And it has some nice bag feet. You have your handle, and your handle has 2 rings so that you can connect your strap. This is the same shape as the Beast, aka the Oro Rosa travel bag, and it is absolutely amazing. Like I said, you have two pockets, 2 separate compartments to put your stuff in, and I think this is a great date night, a great festival bag, a great kind of like an everyday bag if you don't want to have a lot of stuff. I think this bag is really cute, and I think they're going to be super addicting. So let's hop into it because there's a lot of little components to this bag, but once you get all the small prep work done, the bag comes together fairly easily. All right, so let's get you down over to this camera number 1. You're going to get the pattern, and I'm going to put the link in the pattern where you can purchase it. When you get the pattern, you're going to get a cutting chart. Make sure you follow the chart exactly. I even on some pieces because I got confused in the very beginning of this, in some pieces I wrote in pencil like this is the handle, this is the zipper gusset, and there is very helpful tabs you can put onto your bag, and as long as everything's cut to precise, you will get this bag together. There is a cut and hardware list if you're going to do this quilted or not quilted. I'm going to show you the quilted way today because I thought I don't show the quilted a lot in a lot of videos, and I would like to show you that sometimes I can do it. You're going to have to interface everything, and there's 4 packs, and then you need 4 size 5 zippers. You need a 3/4 of an inch strap slider, a 4 strap ends that are 3/4 of an inch, 2 swivel clasps that are 3/4 of an inch, and 2 D-rings that are 3/4 of an inch. Your logo, your handmade tag is optional. You need 4 small purse feet, and that's optional as well, and 2 zippers that are 12 inches. So let's get started with the first part, which is the bag feet. Now, you're going to grab your main bottom gusset, and you're going to find your centers. And as you can see, I drew a dark black line for my center. Then we're going to measure up and punch some holes like you see on figure 9. So we're going to go 4 1/4 inches in from each short edge, and go 1 1/4 inch up. Once you have that, you're going to then install your bag feet. And apparently drop your rulers in the process. So I'm going to be using these bag feet that I got from Fireweed Stitch, and I just like them because the screws are small, so I don't need to put a washer in the back because it has its own little washer. I'm going to screw this in, and I'm using Bouncy Firm for my base. You can use Fusible Fleece. There's some of our people that did Decoville Light. Whatever is easier for you, as long as the back can get squishy, you're going to be fine. Because there's going to be a lot of squishing towards the end of putting this pattern together. So I'm screwing this in. I'm taking some electrical tape and putting this over it. Putting electric tape over it helps prevent friction from the lining, and there will be no holes or easily shown wear. Another thing you can do is you could take fleece and you can iron it over it, and therefore it's there permanently, and again, no friction. So we have our purse feet. You don't need purse feet if you don't want it. Now, for our quilting, I used some foam, and then I just fused some Shape Flex 101 on the top, so that way I can maneuver around this without having it getting like gummed up my needles with double-sided tape and whatnot. By all means, you can use double-sided tape. I just chose not to. So I'm going to find my centers. You can find that by grabbing the pattern piece. If you don't have a pattern piece right in front of you, then what you can do is fold it in half. I like to clip like a little small 1/8 of an inch V and do the same thing on the other side. Once you do that, I'm going to draw my centers. Now, in the pattern, they find their centers, not necessarily draw, but I'm using chalk, and chalk comes off relatively easy for me. You can just brush it off and it kind of just wipes away. So the first thing we're going to do is, when we found our centers, we're going to measure 2 inches down. When I do that, I'm going to make a little tick right there. Then from both sides of the side of the center line, I'm going to go in and draw a line that is 1 1/4 of an inch. All right. Then from this line, we're going to go measure 3/4 of an inch 4 times going down that line. So I'm going to find that line, make another. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, and this will make the 4th one. Okay, so from this first line, we're going to connect the 1/4 of an inch that was away from that 2 inches down and draw a line. My chalk pencil is very loud. I apologize. I heard it when I was filming another lesson, and I was like, wow, this is incredibly loud. We're going to go 3 inches from the 3/8 of an inch from that line that we draw to the line that we're making. So 3/8 of an inch. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. You're just matching up this line that you drew and just make it 3/8 of an inch out, and you got it from there. We're going to do the same thing too. We're going to 3/8 of an inch. We're just going to continue down this path. I really like this pattern, this like quilting pattern. It just gives it a really beautiful organic look and just so upscale. And then we're going to do it. If I sound congested, I apologize. I have a minor sinus infection, so if I sound nasally, that is why, my friends. And we're just going to put that up there, and we're going to do it one more time, 3/8 of an inch. See how, like, I love the way it's looking. I just really like it. It's a very dainty yet masculine and kind of, like I said, organic. That's the best way I can describe it. All right, so we have our lines going out from the V, and then we're going to do some more lines because there's some horizontal lines. We are going to measure in the center from this bottom one and this top one 3/8 of an inch. So the in between 3/8 of an inch is our magic number. And then we're going to do it again from this V. This is why I drew the center line. It makes my life easier. We're going to measure 1 3/8 of an inch from the bottom, which should be that exact first tick, and draw a line across. And then 3/8 of an inch from that line, which matches the line that we just did those ticks at. And one more. I know chalk can be a little messy and it fades fast, but you can definitely use your Tandy leather pen. I do recommend you doing a test patch to see if it comes off easily with just wiping it down, baby wipes, alcohol wipes, what have you. So now we're going to carefully quilt the lines that we have made. So I'm using 90 weight, not wet, thread, and I'm going to back stitch at every one of these because we really don't trim down this, and I just want to lock in the stitch. Right when I get to that middle line, this is why I drew it, it just helps me out. I'm going to now turn and pivot in the opposite direction and go. Now, you could do a couple things. You can start a new theme, pull the threads, cut them, and start over again. Or you can kind of hop over a couple stitches like I'm doing and do that V. Right when I get to that center line, I'm going to turn it and pivot and go up. I'm going to also back stitch on that just because I like to lock in those stitches. One stitch gets unraveled and everything goes amok. All right. And take your time and don't forget to breathe. I know I say that a lot, but trust and I pulled out the threads by accident on this one. Trust and believe, I always forget to breathe when I'm top stitching because I'm so excited to see what... Oops. Well, that's why you don't get threads caught up in there. That's the only part that I always forget to hold on to my threads, and I always forget to not get threads in the other path. If I can get it through. All right, we'll start over. And we're going to go up. And this is our last V. Okay, and then we're going to do the 3 lines that are across. Okay. All right. We have our beautiful pattern. So I'm going to take a name tag that I have, and I was thinking about maybe in the center or like right underneath or on the line. I'm thinking I'm going to do it in the center. I think this is a great thing. You have the time to now put your name tag somewhere. It does look really cool on the edge or something. It also would look cool in the middle of something as well. I think I might do them. No, I'm going to go for the side, and I'm just going to go from there. And I will get to that part when we get to it next, because I'm still contemplating it. So now you have project packs that you put together. You have pack 1, pack 2, pack 3, and 4. Pack 1 has the handles, the straps, the strap ends, and some rivets. Then we have pack 2 that has a zipper panel, the center zipper panel, the zipper lining panels, double walls, and zipper tape. We have the third pack that has the gusset lining, the main panel, some zipper pulls, D-rings, and strap ends. And then our last panel is where we have our 2 panels plus our logo, if we have one. And that's going to be in pack 4. So we're going to start constructing the handles as well as the straps. Now the strap is fairly straightforward. It's similar to what we always do. Take your fabric, find the center, like we're going to be doing with the handle soon. Use double-sided tape or glue or clips. Have about 1/8 of an inch from yourself and fold it onto itself. Stitch 1/8 of an inch down. So that we're going to put together some strap marks. All right. So on our first strap, we need to measure. I like to do this. You'll see I like to measure across. First, I like to get things as even as possible. There we go. We need to fold over the strap. So we're going to punch a hole. We need to have it measured about 1/2 inch over the fold. So I'm going to measure right at 1.5. Let's see, where is my strap? I'm getting my straps and the slider, and I need one more swivel hook. There you are. It's all in this beautiful shiny gold. So we need to put the swivel hook on one end, and we're going to put the strap on the other end. I like to do my strap in first, and we need to fold over it about 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to measure that. And then once you do, you punch at 5/8 of an inch up. So I'm just going to mark that, and then I'm going to grab my hole puncher, and I'm going to punch in the center. And then I'm going to grab, I have 2 rivets that I'm going to be using. I'm using a medium because the material that I'm using, the faux vinyl I'm using, or the faux leather I'm using, is really kind of thick in some areas. So I like to be safe than sorry and not have to punch multiple holes or get a rivet that's too small. So I'm going to take the mel in and put it through. And I'm going to get my rivet press. I got this from Minkus and Marco on Etsy. I have that. Now I'm going to take one swivel hook and thread it through the end that doesn't have the slider on it. Make sure everything is nice and straight, and then I'm I like to have this towards the inside. I will then thread this over and under. But before I do that, I want to have access to put one of these end caps on there, so that would be a little bit easier to thread on. Gonna get 4 screws. Put this aside. So why I have this like this and it's easier for me to slide this on, I'm going to put the right sides facing towards, and then I'm going to feed my strap into this. I promise you it's not as difficult as I'm making it look. It just sometimes my strap ends do not want to come on. And when that's the case, sometimes I just shimmy it in and then eventually it gets in. And let's see, I'm going to make sure that everything stays nice and flat. There we go. And then I'm going to get my screwdriver and screw in my strap ends. I really like these strap ends. They have like a beveled look to them and they're just so cute. Sorry about that. If you heard the TV, I apologize. Let's see. So we have one end and then we have our strap, and I'm going to make sure the strap is straight and not going all twisty because it's very easy. And I'm going to thread this through. And then I'm going to take my swivel hook. I'm going to fold it over by 1.5 inches. And that could be, it could be kind of tricky because of if your material is a little bit on the thicker side. So just err on the side of caution and you should be okay. And then I'm going to punch a hole 5/8 of an inch in. And we punch this hole 5/8 of an inch in so we can actually thread a swivel hook, not a swivel hook, but a cap in on there. All right, I'm going to get the male portion of my strap in, and I'm going to set my rivet. And I'm going to put my rivet press down because we're going to be using it soon, but it's not in the next step. So we're going to now put our end cap on. Take your time. Sometimes I even leave if it comes in plastic, has plastic film. I'm not a big fan of plastic film, but for certain colors like iridescent or rose gold, the fingerprints transfer so easily onto it. And I just do screw. I do not use any super glue in these. If you need to do a repair to something, it can make it really hard or darn near possible to get the caps off. So I just screw them in, and I've never had where a end cap came off. So I'm gonna knock on some wood. Okay. All right, so we have a really pretty strap all ready to go. And then we're going to now take our handle. Going to put these strap ins, these hardware off to the side. We're going to measure in 1.5 inches in, which that's why you see that line. We're going to take double-sided tape. There's 2 layers of tape that is in there. I'm going to use this 1/2 inch. It's like not a strong hold, but it's strong enough. And we're going to remove the tape. And we're going to fold over each side about 1/2 inch, 1/8 of an inch away from the line. So when we fold this onto itself, it doesn't have like a weird like bubbling, like sometimes if you have it but it ends, it will be like a bubble bulk at the edge and it looks really weird. And it can cause your straps to get all like twisty too because it's not evenly proportioned. So we're going to stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way down. I always start with the side that's open. I back stitch. And take your time with this. These handles are on the top of the bag, and you want to just make sure those top stitching are on point so that they can show off and showcase. If you have a hard time top stitching, try having thread that matches your fabric. And if you're like, no, I'm a pro, I could top stitch better with everybody, try some contrasting thread. And it gives another element to your bag, another pop. Okay. All right, we have that. I'm going to trim those threads. And we're going to be making some marks. And I'm going to clear off this tape for my, on both short ends, we're going to measure in at 1 inch and then 1 3/4 of an inch. So as you can tell, I'm drawing across so it helps me center a lot better. And then I use a cool little tool. So 1 inch and then 1 3/4 of an inch. So then I would use my 3/4 of an inch tool that I got from Arc Expression. And when I just match it up to my area, I'll just draw the perfect area for having something punched. If my pen wants to work, and it doesn't. So I just draw a hole placement, and it's perfectly centered with the strap. I love these strap hole placements. They are a game changer for me because I can't eyeball anything to save my life. And so I'd rather have something help me make the placements. Then we're going to punch these holes. All right, so we have our hole placement. Now we're going to put this on the side for right now, and we're going to retrieve our zipper panels, our double wall zipper, getting both those, and I'm using waterproof canvas for the zipper panels interior. All right, and then we're going to grab our zippers, zipper tape, the 12-inch ones, and our center panel. All right, so what I'm going to do right away before I start is I'm going to milt my zipper ends. We're going to be doing a lot of moving and shaking, and it just will help tremendously with that. All right. We're going to separate one zipper and we are going to sew. We're going to sew right sides down, so zipper teeth down, onto our zipper panel. A zipper panel has the fleece that's in the middle, or whatever stabilizer you use. Okay, so I'm going to implore this. I'm going to say this so that way it's known. You need to make sure you sew exactly at 3/8 of an inch, not 1/4 of an inch, not a scant, exactly 3/8 of an inch. I know it seems like, wait, we're not putting this a lining on. There's a reason. Trust Alexis' process. The one thing I can tell you from knowing Alexis as well as I've been, have a privilege of knowing her, is you trust her process. It may feel a little not right, but that's the beauty of it, and it will be right very shortly. So we're going to put right sides down together and teeth, so the teeth are down. And I'm sorry, that's my dog and his bone. I'm going to clip this in place, and do not use double-sided tape. So 3/8 of an inch, we're going to sew down, no double-sided tape. Back stitch at the beginning and end of each area, 3/8 of an inch. Make sure raw edges are touching, and you're exactly 3/8 of an inch. You're like, Shnova, you're like saying that a lot. There's a reason, okay? All right. I had scissors. It's fine. I'll find some more. All right. Okay. 3/8 of an inch. Trimming. Then we're going to fold this onto itself, and we're going to top stitch. Okay, I'm going to stress this point again. Top stitch at 1/8 of an inch, not 1/4, not anything above 1/8 of an inch. We're going to be needing that seam allowance that we're tucking under. Do not use double-sided tape. I did it too. I was like, oh, I'm just going to put double-sided tape and I'll hold it. Nope. Don't do it. I promise you. It'll all make sense really shortly. So we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch. And what I'd like to do is I'm folding it under, and I'm kind of just not separating, but like using my hands to kind of make sure that the zipper tape doesn't roll in on itself, or the vinyl doesn't roll in, because whenever there's a seam, things naturally want to roll into themselves. All right. Very nice. It's coming together nice. And again, we're going to do that again. We're going to go 1/8 of an inch on this side. 1/8, not 1/4. If I haven't said it so already, I highly recommend you reading the pattern and even watching a video before you do it, so that way it can become crystal clear why the seam allowance is so important on this step. It's really crucial because we're about to embark on that in the next page. So I'm trimming all threads, and we're going to go hop on over to page 19, and we're going to make some marks. we are going to measure in at 3 1/4. And where did I put my 3 1/4 and 2 1/2? And I'm just drawing a line. I'm going to find my centers and find where the perfect place to mark it. 2 1/2. All right. So this top part is 1 1/4. So I'm going to just find my centers and then just make a line in the opposite direction so I can find the centers to punch a hole. And I know it's scary. You're like, wait, why are we punching holes? It all will make sense really shortly. So just if you want to double check, you're like, yeah, that's 2 1/2. That's 3 1/4. That's 2 1/2. And that is 3 1/4. So then we're going to punch holes. All right. We got this. Okay. Now we're going to get the double zipper wall. Those are the pieces that are really, really long. On one side of the double zipper wall, we're going to mark a line that's approximately 1 inch. We're going to do that for both panels. So I'm going to put that here and just double check that it's 1 inch. All right. And then I'm going to grab the other long panel and do the same. All right. Now, figure 55 explains this and shows you really well too. We're going to be doing something a little bit different to lay one side of your double wall zipper panel right sides up. So this is right sides up. The plasticky side's the wrong side for me. Okay. We're going to mark 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to just use a pin on the zipper teeth. And you'll see why in just a little bit. So I'm just going to transfer that to the inside of the seam allowance. All right. We're going to place this lining up to the 1 inch mark, taking the seam allowance. And we're going to be stitching this in place. Okay, I know what you're saying. You're like, what? What are you talking about, Shanova? I said she's very, very creative. So she has a new method for this, and it's pretty cool. So the seam allowance, this is laying like this. This is laying right sides touching, and then we're going to fold over the seam allowance and we're going to clip. Now, this seam allowance is very, very narrow. So this is when you bust out your zipper foot or your narrow foot, or if you're really good at just sewing it with your regular sewing foot, go for it. I'm just going to clip it along the way, so that way I have my machine I have something to hold on to, and taking my time, making sure that I have everything right. All right. So where we mark those 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, we are going to start and stop there. So don't sew above or below those 3/8 of an inch mark. So I'm going to bring this over to my machine and we're going to top stitch a very, very, very narrow 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to back stitch, and I'm just taking my time. You can use a stiletto if it's helpful, just to make sure that all raw edges are meeting. Take your time, breathe, you got this. And I'm just making sure raw edges and raw edges are meeting. A zipper foot is incredibly helpful, and that's what you see Alexis use in her diagram on figure 57. I mean 57. And I'm going to stop right at that 3/8 of an inch and back stitch a few stitches. All right. We have one side done. We're about to do the other. Trimming up those threads. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lay this right sides up and then going 1 inch down and folding this on to the right side. And take your time, and I like to clip. The first time I did it without clips, it was not successful for me. It was a little frustrating, but a learning process, because if I just would have clipped or just took my time, you can use a doll needle and thread and like sew baste it real quick so that you don't have to worry about clipping. That's why it was imperative to do the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and then turn around and do the 1/8 of an inch top stitch, so you can have that little bit of wiggle room, so that way you can clip. And you don't want to do, oh well, I'm going to do a 1/4 of an inch. No. Then your gusset is going to be too big for the bottom gusset. You want to have exact measurements that Alexis has in the pattern. All right, so we're going to start on this side, and again, not stitching above or below that 3/8 of an inch mark that you drew. Raw edges to raw edges. Take your time. Don't sew over your clips. Ask me how I know. I've done that like 3 times this week. I was like, what am I doing wrong? All right. Gonna back stitch now. All right. I'm gonna trim this up. All right, so this is how it looks. So if you go to page 20, you're going to see that it looks like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these and clip them right sides together. I'm just going to clip on over, and I'm just going to make sure everything is even. And I'm going to clip, and we're going to sew at a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. We just took the long ends and made it to the short. We made the going together, right sides together, clipping. And I just put a clip in the middle because you can sew straight across if you wish. And that's what I'm going to do. 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well at the beginning and end, please. All right. So then we're going to trim up the zipper wall until it's 1/8 of an inch. Get those. And we are going to find our centers. So the way I find my centers is I'm going to match zipper panel to zipper panel. And I'm just going to hold a clip right there. And I'm going to do a little marking on here. I have like fuzzies everywhere on here too. Just a little snip on both sides. Right now we're looking at the wrong side of the zipper panel, but these little center marks are super important. Okay. Then we're going to grab our zipper panel and zipper teeth. And what I like to do on this is I grab, because there's no like trick for this, just to hold it all together, I like to take 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape and put it on the right side of the lining piece. Besides, we haven't used any other double-sided tape because it would have messed up the seam allowance. This is a little bit more easier because this is just putting on the zipper panels straightforward. And I'm going to remove the double-sided tape on both of them. I'm going to take the zipper, I almost threw the double-sided tape away. I'm going to lay the wrong side of the zipper tape on the right side of the lining. This is as even as I can. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay. All right, we got that. Then we're going to, because instead of basting it down at 1 inch, I just 1/8 of an inch, I just like to do the zipper tape. Do the 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape because it holds it in place better to me. So I'm going to do 3/8 of an inch. to grab this and do the same thing. 3/8 of an inch. I'm just making sure all raw edges are aligned. You always can clip it into place. All right, and then I'm going to snip threads. All right, then we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. When it's a smaller panel like this, I like to take the lining and get it as to meet the exterior's wrong sides as much as I possibly can. And then I just pop a couple clips in there, and then I top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. And again, I give the zipper a nice little tug so that way it doesn't roll into the seam allowance that we just sewed. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this. Okay. My puppy, she's barking at somebody. Let's see, 1/8 of an inch. Oops, I ran out of bobbin. Well, let's see. I don't believe this will be the first or the last time that happens in this video. All right. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to pull up my threads. And I'm going to go back over the hole that I ended in. But first I'm going to zap the threads as close as I can without burning the fabric. But it's also like milting the thread so that way it won't ravel out. And then I will get into the same hole and pull my threads to the back and milt them. So I'm going to take this, pull the thread to the back. I'll tie it off with a knot, just like two, and then I'll milt it, and nobody will know the difference. Sometimes we like over criticize ourselves for top stitching and mistakes. It's not the end. All it is when you make mistakes, just finding resolutions and how to fix it so that way you become even better sewist that you already are. See? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So now we're going to find the center. I'm going to put the clip there. I'm just going to do a small little V. Because our seam allowance is always 3/8 of an inch. So I do like a little clip that's like not more than 1/8 of an inch. And I try to do it to the exterior piece. right. So we have that. We are going to we're going to be grabbing our zipper pulls, and there's 4 of them. We're going to be grabbing our D-rings. All right. So first we're going to put these aside, and we're going to grab our zipper panel, and we're going to be putting 2 lining pieces on there. And as you can see, I notched these so it can help with guiding it. So you can staple this and then just trim it after. I always have mixed luck with trimming, so I usually just clip. Alexis has really nice gussets, and they always fit really nicely, so I don't have too many problems with like trying to evenly distribute the seams and whatnot have you. I'm just going to put this in place. I'm just clipping it. You can definitely staple it. I know a lot of people love staples, and by all means, go for it. I say do whatever makes it easier for you. For me, it's not stapling sometimes. So I'm going to now sew this together using a 3/8 of an inch. Back stitching well. If an area if you're using waterproof canvas, it can get a little stiff and a little not wanting to give. You always can do a few like 1/4 of an inch snips that can help it ease in if that's the case. And if you want, use a stiletto, whatever helps you sew easier. That's all that matters. It makes you comfortable. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm going to grab my pinking shears, and I'm going to pink all the way around, leaving a 1/8, trim to a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. right. We have one side down, and let's do the other. Yeah, we're already starting to put together the bag. We're pretty cool. See, finding those little clip things help out tremendously. For my interfacing for, instead of using like a SoFuse 1 or Shapeflex 101, I use a plus. That is something that I always tell people I do, but I guess they don't believe me. I like using a nice firm interfacing for my lining pieces because it helps with any like saggy or droopy linings. It's not always fun to turn, but it helps. I'm not going to lie to you. I think these bags are going to be wildly addicting. I'm just giving you guys a heads up now. I have like so many more planned in my head. 3/8 of an inch. And I did have I thought I had an owl. Hold on. That's not over there. I'm just going to wing it without it. All right, here we go. Let's see. Stay hydrated. Make sure you're drinking your water or whatever you want to drink. If it's springtime, so hydration is important. Alright, let's pink this bad boy. And I gotta get my threads. Like I say, I'm trimming threads, and then when I go back and look, there's like a slew full of them. I'm like, yeah, I didn't do a good job. Apparently. All right. So we have that done. Now we're going to kind of turn this right sides out. And we are going to put on this handle that we put aside. We're going to rivet in one place and then put the D-ring. I have my rivets right over here. I'm grabbing 2 males and 2 females. And if you're like me and rivets are expensive for rainbow, if you have, I don't have any near me, if you have any other color rivets, you can thread your rivet in, and you can use like a silver cap or another cap in, sorry, a silver cap or another cap in place, and use the other end for another project. But since I don't have any in front of me, that's not going to help. I'm going to put the first one in on both sides, threading the male in and capping it in with the female. And then I'm going to get my rivet press that I just put away and set those. All right, I got one. Okay, got two. I'm going to put this press right here because I'm going to grab my D-rings. Well, they don't have to be D-rings. These are squabbles, so I like the way they looked on the back. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do it with a rainbow one too. I'm going to slide that in. And I have these really cool, they're Chicago screws. So I'm going to see if this will be a cool feature that I could have on the back. And I'm going to grab the screw part and grab my screwdriver and screw it in. Chicago screws are a great, if you don't have you can't set a hand rivet, or you don't have a hole punch, or, I mean, not a hole punch, but a tabletop rivet press. They're a great alternative. They're easy to use, and they make your bag look super cool. Oh, that's nice. I really like that. I'm excited about that. Let me unscrew this one. And you always could put a washer if it's too, there's not enough clearance. If it's too big and it's not screwed all the way in, then you could put like a washer or some foam in between the wrong sides to get it to, work. But as you can see, because these straps are so thick, I can easily screw this in. And little things like that can help make the bag have like a special little touch, something that's unique. Your bag is already going to be unique because you made it, but to give it an extra little, some flair. See? Oh, that's nice. I like that. All right, so I'm going to put my screw up, my rivet press up for right now. And we have that. Now we're going to add the zippers. So this, you might want to get your zipper jig if putting on zippers are frustrating. What I like to do is I like to start with just one side. I feed it in, and then I look inside, and I want to make sure that both ends are just before that bar that makes the zippers stay together. And I kind of just push with my fingers, and I go from there. It's weird. Sometimes it'll take me forever to do one, and then other times they just all come in really easily. Those zipper jigs are a game changer for a lot of people. For me, I kind of injured myself. But that's just me. I'm kind of a klutz. And there you go for one side. Let's get together and do this other side. Sorry, you're like 15 minutes later. Shinova still put it on zippers. One eternity later. And sometimes it's just easy to put on. So we have this going on. And I'm just going to finger press this so it can be into its area. And what I did last time with this area is I did put a little bit of double-sided tape where the top part is, just to help hold the lining in on the top so it won't sag. It just in between this little area. I did this last time and I like the way it turned out, so I'm going to try it again. Because this top part of the gusset gets no more sewing, so except when it gets to the zipper pulls. I mean the zipper section. And just like that, I'm going to press this in and do the same thing here. All right, so we have our beautiful zippers. Now we're going to get to some exciting parts. We're going to grab our bottom with the purse feet, and then we have two lining pieces. So what we're going to do first is we're going to move each of these panels out of the way. We're going to tuck these away, and we're going to put the lining on like this. And that's why we had that 3/8 of an inch where the zipper we didn't sew, because now we can move, kind of push it out of the way. So we're going to put, I know it's going to be weird, you're going to put right sides of the lining together, and you're just going to put a few clips there. And see how I'm pushing the zipper, this pocket away? Not pocket, but side pieces. I'm moving this out of the way because we have that 3/8 of an inch clearance. And I'm just going to put that on top of here, match right sides together. And everything, if you did the right seam allowance throughout the pattern, everything should fit really nicely. All right, so I'm going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. And take your time. Make sure everything's lined up as nicely as you can. And I'm just gonna make sure that it's nice and positioned right. All right. And see, these two pieces are now on there. We're going to take our exterior. And again, if you sewed everything up right, then your exterior should match pretty dead on. And we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. And I like to back stitch on this one because this is a permanent stitch. So 3/8 of an inch. All right. And I'm flipping off clips, so that means it's supposed to do this. So we're going to take, you see how these two lines are just open? We're going to fold it towards the part that has the bottom, and we're just going to sew down this area like this, top stitch it at 1/8 of an inch, not putting the lining towards the gusset. Have the lining go into the opposite side of the bag. The two lines, murder bone. Okay, my dog has, if you're new to my channel, my dog has a bone that he drops and plays around with, and it is ginormous. And we have a couple, we call them murder bones. Because if you step on them, they're horrible. If it actually flings at you, it's bad. We're going to now take this over here. And before I put the exterior, I'm just going to line up the lining and do that 1/8 of an inch too. Let's do some clips. We're just going to push down these side linings. That's why we had that beautiful 3/8 of an inch that we did not sew. All right. I'm going to stitch this down at 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to, my zipper decided to pull a little apart, so I'm just going to sew it back. Okay. 1/8 of an inch for the lining. And then just make sure that that area that you have 3/8 of an inch is moved out of the way. All right. Trimming. Now we're going to take right sides together. And I know it feels weird. It's like you're doing a little bit of a puzzle piece, but it comes together. You're going to be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. We're going to do 3/8 of an inch going across. Back stitch at the beginning and the end, please. All right. So we're going to top stitch this down, but we don't want the lining, so we're only wanting to top stitch the exterior. So move the lining out of the way, and then you top stitch. It's a little bit more finicky than what we did in the first side, but you can do it. And you're gonna, from this point on, you're gonna get used to squishing your bag, because pretty much that's what we're gonna do from this moment on, is get squishy with it. That's one of the reasons why Alexis has the what the interfacing is so important, because if you have like a deck of a light or heavy, it can crinkle, because we're going to be squishing the heck out of our bags. All right, so next we're going to basically take our linings and we're going to sew the bottom part together. Now there might be a small hole, and that's fine if that happens, because no one's going to see it, and then we're going to also super glue it. You heard me, super glue. So I'm taking the lining like this, and I'm just, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. In each one of the corners, if you can remove some of the bulk by kind of going at a diagonal into this, where the seam allowance, not cutting into your stitches, it just is going to help with bulk when we're done with it, when we're putting the exterior parts of the bag on. And it's also fun to watch them clip fly across the room. All right, so here's the lining. You see that we have this lining bottom. We're going to want to sew these bottoms together. I'm just going to remove. All right. We're just going to line these up and clip them in place, and we're going to sew these together. This is why tacking down the lining on the side seams can be crucial, and you might have to unpick, because when you're sewing these two pieces together, it's really important that you can get all of it. All right, so I'm gonna just kind of squish my bag. Yeah, squish it, and I'm going to sew from inside all the way around to make this lining piece go. So I'm going to get squishy with it. I know it's going to be hard to see. If you're following along, we're doing what's on figure 99 and 98. Take your time. And don't forget to breathe. I'm just moving and squishing my bag around. And get as close as you can without sewing into the next seam. All right. See how now when we tuck that in, sorry. One second. All right. We're getting close as we can, and then if you have a little hole, what we're going to do is put a little thread locker or super glue, whatever you have in that hole. Nobody will know if you close it up. I promise you. Nobody will know. And we have like the first part of our bag. Now we got to do this second part. I like to do my glue all at the end so that they dry at the same time. I'm going to get these threads. And we're going to do some more clipping. we're going to take the inside part of the lining, because there's the outside and there's the inside, and we're going to match them to the lining pieces that we had. And I try to match as best I possibly can. It can get hard to get into certain areas, and that's okay. I promise you, where you're going to glue at, once it's sealed, you will not notice that there's no stitching there, because the stitches are done from the outside and not on the inside of the bag. Let's just clip things out of the way. And if you're not using waterproof canvas, or if you're using like water resistant canvas, I use water resistant canvas in the black bag, and it was way more flexible than the waterproof canvas. So you know, like a cotton woven with like a Shape Flex 101 would work good too. You're going to wrestle a little bit with canvas. So we're going to sew from corner to corner and just squish our bag down, and we should get everything. If there's a little hole, like I said, it's fine. We're going to put some Fabri-Tac or some kind of super glue you have, Gorilla Glue or whatever, lock thread, permanent thread. There's so many different glues. All right. Let me get this. I got a whole bunch of thread bird nesting up here. All right, I got it. I'll go back over and back stitch. It would help if I actually threaded my needle. I promise you, I do that all the time. I'll be like, why isn't it not so? Oh, okay, you didn't thread your needle, Shinova. All right, let's go. One second. I wonder if I'm out of bobbin. No, I'm not. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. So I'm gonna go. You go back over the area, back a few stitches up, and you go back over, and you're gonna get as close as you possibly can to the other side without sewing over the other side, or it'll go into your zipper, where your zippers are, and that would be unfortunate. But I had a little 4 holes on all sides, and then what I do is I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite. See, there's a little small hole. I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite. It's blue. It dries clear though. And just put it in that hole. And then I just put a clip over it for a little bit. This glue dries really, really fast. That little area that has a hole. Let it dry. Oh, and whatever you do, make sure you take your clips off after you do this, because I went to go sew up one side of the bag and realized that I had clips on the other side. I was like really mad at myself for a moment. All right, so when we have that, we're going to, once this dries, what we're going to do is we are going to take these clips off, and we're going to sew down the perimeter of this. We're going to base this lining and this hole part into place so that way we can start putting the exterior on. We're almost done. We just got to do some binding. And I got to put some end caps on here. That's why I think it's going to be addictive. Once you get the swing of this bag, it's going to be, oh, I'm going to pump these out. I'm going to do Jack Skeleton. I'm going to do Star Trek. I'm going to do, you know, Discovery of Witches. Well, something. There's going to be so many cool ones. I can already see. And I just kind of squish the lining. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just base this around at 1/8 of an inch. Make sure raw edges with raw edges. Okay, we're going to cut those long tails off, and I'm going to trim up this little corner part that had some extra poking through. All right, we're going to do the same thing on this side. Process. Just don't skip the basting. Whatever you do, don't skip the basting, because then it's a place where you can fix any corrections, any errors. Like, see how this is just a little bit bulging out? I can flush it with the rest of it. Just, it's a really important step. Super cute. All right. Are you ready? So we're going to take one of your sides and you put your logo wherever you see fit. Alexis does show where she places her logo on figure 106 on page 26. And we're going to grab one of these and put it lining side matching. And I'm going to base this down, and then I'm going to trim anything that's excess off. I'm basting this together at 1/8 of an inch. All right. And I'm trimming up any excess lining that may have got is a little longer than the main panels. So that way, when I sew this, it can have a nice, even, nice and flush. All right. So we're going to unzip. We're going to pretty much squish our bags. And this is why it's important to have really flexible linings and fabrics, because we're going to get squishy with it. So we're going to match our centers. And if you want to staple here, by all means, I do not blame you. Make sure you have your, I feel like I do not have this center marked right on this base. So I'm just going to clip my bag together. I thought I clipped my bag together, but apparently I did not. You're going to watch me struggle for a bit. Oh, there it is. It is marked. It is marked. It was so little though. All right, so back to turning this bag right side out of it on each other. This is foam and fleece are your friends, people. Especially when your bag is getting squishy and you have like vinyls and stuff. 2 clips. Okay, and then I'm going to clip this all the way around. Take your time. Clip. If you want to, you can definitely staple in areas or throughout the whole thing. Just remember to remove the staples when you start binding. Getting clips. Use as many or as few as you need. There's some people that can just not even use clips, and I'm really jealous of those people because I feel like I need every clip in my arsenal whenever I'm doing any kind of gusset. Okay. All right. So I'm going to sew around this using like I'm a 1/8 of an inch, not 1/4 of an inch, because I'm going to be, when I'm sewing the binding, I'm going to use 3/8 of an inch, and I just like to have 2 different lines. So I'm just going to squish this down, and if it helps, use an owl or some kind of stiletto that can help you. And I'm going to use that myself. I'm going to pick up this stiletto. If it comes out of my little caddy, it doesn't feel like it. There it goes. Sometimes the stiletto can help flatten down a seam that we can't flatten down ourselves, and help raw edges to get with raw edges. Stay with raw edges. Take your time. just gonna, I'm moving and shifting something. Always have your needle down when you do that. Okay. Okay, and we're almost done with basting. I always feel like basting is the hardest part. All right. Let's trim these threads and let's get some binding. Now, you can use double fold binding. A lot of people love that. I'm a big fan of twill tape, because twill tape that we use in corset making, right? It's called waist tape. It keeps the corset from stretching. And I feel like it does the same thing with bag making. I feel like my bags pop out and have a really great structure because of the twill tape. So I measure around, as you see me do it right now, lightly. And then I literally grab 1-inch double-sided tape. I'm going to move some of the stuff that I don't need on my table. And I match it up with the 1-inch twill tape. And I try to get it on there as neatly as I can. The thing about twill tape, it doesn't have any real stretch. That's why they call it waist tape, because it doesn't stretch. If you look in some of your clothing items like jeans, certain areas will have twill tape, certain bras will have it. Some shirts in the collar or different parts of elements have it. It's areas that generally we don't want to stretch. They have twill tape. So a couple years ago when I was making one of my first Magdalenas, I was trying so many different things for binding and I wasn't getting it. So one day I got 1-inch tape from, like glue tape from Waywack, and I was like, I wonder if I put it on this twill tape. And twill tape comes in a variety of colors. So I like to always start my bindings at the top. Like having the butts ends, because no one really looks in the top of your bag. They always look into your bag, which is at the bottom. And I'm just wrapping this around. And I'm just making sure I cover all the previous rows of stitching. I'm just bringing it around. Taking my time. That's the great thing about double-sided tape. You can readjust in as many times as you need. And then before I close, I just kind of fold over one end. And I'm going to start clipping it on. Now, hear me out real quick. I sometimes have to go back over to areas that I miss when I do this, and that's okay. For me, if it's not okay for you, definitely do double wide tape and or like 2 1/4 of an inch on bias tape on it. it's your discretion. It's your bag, and whatever makes you feel good about your bag, use. I'm just folding over the other side of the tape so it could be nice and even, Steven. And I'm going to sew this around at 3/8 of an inch. And I'm kind of feeding it in. It's a smaller bag, so I can smush it down and not have any real worries about it. I backstitch the beginning and the end. And you can use your stiletto if you want to help navigate. And just be cognizant of your zipper pulls and it's tape, so you can gum up your needles. I'm using a way that can definitely gum up your needles. There are less sticky tapes out there, and you could definitely give those a go too. Because all it needs to do is hold it down until you can sew around, right? So I'm just going to go over this, and I look, and I see like this area didn't get stitched down, and some areas over here. So I'm going to start from this side and go over to the other area that did not get stitched down really well, and go from there. And I use my stiletto to hold anything in place that I need to. And back stitch over that little area that has the binder, and then I think I got it all on the side. I like trying new experiments with bindings, like with smaller bags like this, so if it didn't work and I have to unpick stuff or whatever, it's not that big of a deal because it's not that big of a bag. All right, so let's flip this one out onto itself. I like to take my fingers and just like kind of press in to the binding area to really accentuate and poke out those. And let me just singe the threads. So we're like, burn your threads. It's like, you did all this hard work, now burn your threads. There's no graceful way, I feel like, of saying that. But look at this. So when you have areas like this, I get a lot of people asking me, they're like, hey, this area is like being finicky. Yes, because it has the most bulk. Definitely, I like to press with my fingers and massage it out as best as I possibly can. Look at that. That is going to be a cutie. Now we have one more side to go. So we're going to flip this. I know, people. You're like, no more squishing the bag. But that's what it's meant to do. It's going to get squishy. That's why picking your interfacing choices are pivotal. And whenever I start a bag, I generally go exactly what the designer recommends, because obviously they tried it with different ones before, and they're telling you from their experience, this is what works best. I don't have my centers here either. Okay, let me flip this back out real quick. So do as I say, not as I did. Find your centers. I could have bet you bucks that I did that, but apparently I did not. And you just want to right, I got it. Flipping this back around. So I have foam for the panel so I could have the nice little quilting look. And then for my gusset, I used Bouncy Firm because I used fleece last time and I ran out of fleece, so I used Bouncy Firm. And it's a little stiffer than the first one, and that could be hard on someone's hands. But I think that if you could possibly use something like a foam as well, and it will work out good. I smell French fries. Somebody upstairs is making something really good, and it's making me hungry. I hate when that happens. Like, I'm filming, someone's cooking, and you're just like, why would you make something that smells so phenomenal while I'm filming? And I think they do it on purpose. Can't quote me on, yeah, quote me on this. I think they do, exactly. So we're gonna clip it good. I would like to see someone do a video with it, like instead of having like the Dito hats, like their clip hats and like clip bowls. That would be so cute. Yeah. Showing my age there, Nova. Showing my age. All right, we're almost done clipping. All right, and like I said, I don't know how Alexis does it, but she always has like this perfect fit for her gussets, and it's amazing. I know it's math and everything, but man, it's still amazing. All right, so we're going to go around. We're going to stitch this down at 1/4 of an inch. We're going to repeat this process. And then when we're done, we'll turn the bags right side out, add the hardware to the strap ends, and show you all. Take your time around the curves. And remember, any wrinkles or crinkles you have it above your stitch line, not below, or that's what shows when you turn those out and you're like, why do I have a pucker? Take your time, breathe. Just get squishy with your bag. It's going to be fine. I thought I ran out of bobbin and I didn't. I'm always afraid of running out of bobbin. If I was able to change one thing on this machine, it would be a bobbin indicator. Like I think that I don't even have that really on my domestic machines, but I think it's a cool feature and it could save you. Cause like, when you're like in that middle of sewing and all of a sudden that bobbin runs out and you think you were sewing for the past 2 minutes and you just realize it's just a bunch of hole in your fabric, it can be frustrating. You're like, no, not again, bobbin. So I'm just wrapping it around, doing like a dry fit. And I'm trimming. I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to put it on this 1 inch. You can use 3/4 of an inch. I just always, for some reason, 1 inch double-sided tape is my favorite for straps. I have no idea why. It just, one day I used it and I always order it. I like also 3/8 of an inch. They don't have it at Waywack. They have it at Tandy Leather and Springfield Leather, and I don't know why I like it so much, but when I'm doing applique, 3/8 of an inch is my jam. If I have 3/4 of an inch straps, I like 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch tape as well. Kind of bougie when it comes down to the tape. Just let that thing fly off. All right, so again, this is the bottom, this is the top. Going to start my binding at the top. You always can draw a center line. Above it, but if you have twill tape there, it kind of goes down into a V, like a flying V formation, and you can just line that up on the top of your seam. You can get as even as you possibly can. Then I'm just going to bring this over here and I'm going to trim it and fold this onto itself so I can enclose the raw edges and clip. I'm just folding it over on itself, pressing my fingers really well so that way I can get it to go. All right. And you could just put clips in any areas you think you need to. And now we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch all the way around. I'm seriously gonna have to give this baby a nice clean when I'm done with this, because it does not like double-sided the hyper stick as much as it sews through it. It doesn't have an issue. It just sounds horrible. So I usually, whenever I sew with any kind of double-sided tape or glue or wax canvas, I always give my machine like a really good cleaning, re-oil some spaces, and change out the needle, because as your needle is going up, the needle bar is going into the machine, and whatever products you have onto your bag, the machine's getting it. All right, so I'm going to remove this thread. They're making like some really good fries. I can smell it. If you don't know I like food, then welcome to my channel. I love food and I love candy. So I'm gonna go over here because this is the area that I did not catch everything. It wasn't actually a bigger portion than the other side, so I'm okay with that. I was actually gonna make binding, but I completely forgot. So, but I always have white and black twill tape over at my sewing area because I use it so much. All right, so we're going to turn this part in. we're just going to press out with our fingers, roll our fingers around the seams and just press it out as best as we can. I'm just rolling the seams. And sometimes when I have a bag like this, I'll stuff it overnight with like paper, or usually paper. I have a lot of packages coming. I have a lot of little kids, not little, they have kids that order stuff, so there's always Amazon packaging somewhere around in this house. And just roll this out. Just press with your fingers, and it's going to work. It's going to start molding to the way you want it to be. But man, isn't this little thing cuter? This is so cute. This is so cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm pressing this out with my hands. Got my little Star Wars on. I'm going to grab the bag end here. Got another one. I don't know where all my little screws are though. I have 2. Pretty sure I need 4. There's 3. Okay, I could put 1 in it. Oh, there's 4. And then we'll put the bag on, and it should be all done. You don't have to put the strap ends on the handle. It just looks really cool. I think this is like a perfect little bag for anyone. I can see these being for weddings, prom bags, just fandom bags, period. Like, oh, you're going to go see this, blah, blah, blah. Make it a Rocky Horror bag. Like, get some 626 action. They're going to be making that into a live action. I don't know how I feel about that. And they're also making the Goofy movie into a live action. And I'm weirdly disturbed about that one too. I don't know. There's some cartoon characters I just feel like should never come to life. And maybe it's like the ones that are animals talking. But that could just be my own personal fear and everybody else is really excited about it. Let's see. We have that one. We're going to stick this bad boy on. This is so cute. If I can get the screws in. You can do a chain, which would be really pretty because it's such a dainty bag. You can have a nice fixture. You can do a thicker strap to make it accentuate how small it is. A skinnier strap, like a 1 inch, half an inch strap. We are using a 3/4 of an inch. I think a 1.5 would look cool. A 1 3/4 of it. All of them will look cool because the bag is such a cool size. The only reason why I put the strap ends in later is because I didn't like it was clunking around in the other machine, and that was not fun. It was just like hitting the bed. So what we have is a sweet, sophisticated bag. A sweet and sophisticated bag that is truly unique. You have 4 zipper pulls. You could do just two, but I like how the 4 looks. It gives it a really retro feel. We have bag feet. We have are nice two big, think of these as like two ginormous pockets. Not a whole lot of binding, just two sides. You have your D-rings, which you can attach your strap to. And you're ready to go. So I'm hoping that you guys love the Tiny Beast as much as I did. I think this bag is super cute and it's functional, and I can see it being so many different things. So if you have any questions in regards to this pattern, or any questions on how I did my methods, please leave them to comment down below. I'm really responsive and I try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoy this video, if you could like, subscribe, and comment, it helps out this section out tremendously. And if you're like, hey Shinova, you know, I want to do something special for you because I did not understand that lining, you can buy me a Ko-fi. I will put the information in my description box, as well as will be the first comment that's pinned to this page. And that is it. I hope you enjoy, and I hope everyone has fun making the tiny little beasts. And the next time I see you, happy sewing, stay safe. Bye.